Nation, episode 940 of your favorite podcast, Lucas Tigers and Bronze. Oh my, we've got excited, fierce, tenacious Cage on deck for you guys today. I'm going to ask you anything in your day in the city, the weird blizzard,
Snow.
not blizzard,
Yeah,
nor'easterner, Brigandy, grading companies, fanatics.
we got a lot of stuff, right? It's been a while. We got to talk.
Got a
lot
very
of stuff.
contentious MVP race. Spring training is like right around the corner. It probably is for spring training. What are you thinking about?
I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. Number one,
I doubt it.
somebody goes out there on Twitter and posts to Kendrick Perkins, posts to the JJ Redick argument, posts all this stuff, and then someone goes and replies with no following at all to defend Jokic. What goes on in the head of people on Twitter that they want to go and think that people care what their reply is just because they happen to own a PSA 8 light blue? Nah, seriously. So yes, Andrew is.
So we can actually talk about
why
Jokic. Talk
Jokic?
about the cards. So did you actually think that my replies were in defense of Jokic? Because
Yes.
what I was referencing was people are saying Embiid's 33.4 points per game is like the highest except for Harden, Jordan, and Kobe.
Mhm.
And my point was they score more points in this era. They probably scored 10% more points. It's not – everything became Jokic and Embiid. It happened like overnight. It's this social media polarization culture, but it's not about Jokic versus Embiid. They're both having amazing seasons. I don't know why we even need to compare them to each other. I don't know why it became a thing where it's Jokic versus Embiid versus who just had the best performance. And let's make supporting arguments for both. Both are very deserving.
You know what? How about
And
we interview you? Sometimes this is a useful tool. So I'm going to interview you this time. We're going to get to the bottom of this whole pan thing. Right? Okay? Ready? Give me one argument for Joker over Embiid in the MVP race. One. You only get one. What's the best thing that Joker brings to the table that Embiid doesn't? Go.
Well, the fact that he's averaging a triple-double and they win. So when they record a triple-double, they're like 28-1, and they're the first seed. So his
now,
stats,
give me one argument as to why Embiid should win.
Embiid is probably a better overall player on offense and defense.
So it's reasonable. It's a reasonable conversation.
Yeah,
it's a
like
reasonable
today,
conversation.
Zach Lowe put out Jokic has 44 kick balls. The next guy has 17. What does that even have anything to do with basketball at all?
So
He's obviously not very nimble.
people have their camps. If I wanted to talk to someone who was a bigger fan of the 84 Star Jordan, they would explain why it's a better card, why there's less of them, why it's really his rookie. And then there's another camp of 86 Fleer. This is, bless you, buddy. This is the
camps are killing us, brother.
They're not.
They're dividing us. They're making. If
you let them.
Well, I'm not if I let them. This is what's happening.
This is conversation, but it's not.
Everything's debate. Like when I respond to a comment about Embiid or about Embiid being MVP, it's already perceived as supporting for Jokic, but it had nothing to do with Jokic, and it was just adding context to the conversation.
Well, if you're taking right now, it's a binary choice, right? I mean, I guess unless you want to bring in Giannis. So if you're undercutting the argument for Embiid,
the argument hasn't been made yet.
Necessarily, you're arguing for Jokic, because if you're weighing in on an MVP conversation where there's two choices and you're undercutting the argument for one, that means you are supporting the argument for the other.
That's what it seems like on the surface, but that's not the case because there's another variable of time. And with each day, each week, the MVP race changes and there's new context added to the situation. A month ago, it was clear-cut Jokic. I would actually say that people listening would be surprised that the Sixers and the Nuggets have the exact same record.
Mm-hmm.
The Nuggets have one more win, but they both have 22 losses.
Speaking of records, and it doesn't matter. I mean, it's a stat. Winning is just a stat, and stats don't matter. But do you know who has the worst – currently the worst record in – I'm just playing with you. That was a segue and making fun of you when you said stats don't matter. See, now roll with me, okay? My questions are long enough without you interrupting. Go. Who has the worst record in the NBA right now?
I think it's Houston.
It's not the Rockets. Ian said the Rockets also. It's actually Detroit by percentage points. Detroit has one more loss. Okay. Do you know what Detroit's road record is?
Abysmal.
They are 7-26 on the road. Do you know who has the same road record as Detroit? The worst record in the league? The Warriors. Now, I'm going to put myself on mute and let the dude who watches the games go off for a couple of minutes here and explain to me how a team can be so good at home and so bad on the road.
He's such a weird mood, man. I got to tell you guys, one day you're going to have the privilege, not just like a cigar night with 2 hours with this guy, like to really get a peek inside his brain. He's polarizing. He is shocking. So it's a few things. I'll state the obvious. As champions, there's always a championship hangover. It's physical, mental, plus the fact that teams give you their best performance. So as a championship team, you play the most games. So you're going to have the least amount of time to prepare for next season. So there's that. Then you're hungover mentally. You're just like, you want. How do you get back up for like game 3 of the season? And then when the champions come to town, the team, the opponent, everybody gives you their best shot. It's not a rollover game. It's not a look-ahead game. You are the game that's circled on the calendar. We want to beat this team. So they're getting 100% every time they're on the road. The fans come out. People want to see Curry, so the home team's going to perform really well. I'd also say Kerr deserves a little bit more blame than he got. Like, he really botched the situation with Wiseman, man. I'm not saying that it's the wrong decision, but his rotations haven't worked. And I think it's hard to say that they don't have some pieces. Do they have the best role players? Maybe, maybe not. But what he's done with that team hasn't worked. Now, Kerr isn't really a rotations and all that. He's always struck me as a mindset guy. He's always struck me about getting the temperament of the team right. And I think that punch that I didn't think was a big deal early in the season is actually a bigger deal than it seemed. So you have like all of these factors, and I think it's unfair to point to just one. Clay, probably rounding into form now, but he's still only 80%, so imagine what he was earlier. That's what I would say.
So the hangover applies more at home than it does on the road. The rotations are different at home than they are on the road. The mindset that Kerr brings is a different mindset at home and on the road. The punch impacts the team differently at home versus on the road. Clay rounds into form better at home than on the road. I mean, all the things you gave me, I guess maybe the one that I could see is getting everyone's best, right? When you're on the road and the other team, they're home, they're going to give you their best at home.
Role players play better at home. Just like as a rule.
Is it an energy thing? Do they feed off the energy of their home crowd? I mean, it is a stark difference, right?
They switched stadiums. So it's not like it's not Oracle Arena. It wasn't this. It's still vibey, but it's not like that vibe.
I mean, are they flying commercial now?
I answered your question. I gave you the right answer. What else do you want? Was it?
Your answers
enough?
Yeah, your answers.
Did I not give you enough?
Your answers make no sense. Your answers make no sense. They are not relevant for home or away.
They're typically right.
There couldn't be anything right.
Would you do what I'm about to do? So I bought a Jokic. I bought a Jokic blue 9, and I bought a silver 10. Okay.
Yes.
Now there's a 10 on eBay. And it's at $2,400.
A 10 of which one? You named 2 cards.
Of the silver. Of the silver. Aggro.
So you have a 9 silver and an 8 blue? Is that what you have?
9 blue
9
and
blue.
10 silver.
Okay, so there's another silver 10 on eBay for sale.
It's on auction right now. 4 days left. $2,400. I bought mine for $2,500. Okay. Someone just listed a BGS 9.5. I made an offer. I counted to $1,000. So I could buy BGS 9.5, really nice copy for $1,000. Do I just sell this, which is the silver's now like a $3,500 copy, get my $1,000 profit, buy the BGS 9.5, and I'm sitting on the exact same card,
free card.
for free?
Yeah, I would do that. And it's a win, and you just count it as a win, and you move on to the next one, 100%.
And I have a free card.
You have a free card. Like you got a $1,000 card for free. Yeah, you can do that every week, and you're sitting pretty.
Now, let me ask you guys, does that consider me a flipper, an investor, a collector? What bucket would you put that in? Because
Genius.
I love
put it in the bucket.
I love the card.
Yeah. That's good. And listen, so here is where I will go with it. And just to finish up on the Golden State Warriors, the point I was trying to make is they're now a game and a half behind the Suns after beating the Suns. And that game and a half behind the Suns is actually pretty relevant because that's for the 4 seed. And I know there's a lot of games left, 13, 14, depending on how many games played. But they're only a game and a half out of getting a first round home court advantage, which I think for a team like the Warriors actually matters more this year than anybody else. It would just be for the first round. But, any team that wants to face them is going to want to face them where they're only playing, a couple of games at Golden State and force them to play on the road where they've just been abysmal. Anyway, so on yours, I like where your head is on it, and we got to give you some credit. I mean, every once in a while we take our shots at you. You went into this with supply and demand. You did research on this one, and it wasn't just, I know what the pop is, or hey, I'm going to pull up, card ladder, market movers, Beckett Collects. I'm going to pull up whatever these things where I'm going to find my pops, my universal pop report. It was you actually tried to buy these cards and realized that the actual supply versus the available supply was not the same on these. The available supply was tiny. Nobody wanted to part with these cards, and that probably gave you a little more confidence. You had confidence in the player, and then you had confidence in the fact that these are not something that anybody can just go get, which often leads to having to pay more when they come up for sale. And that has played out. Because now if this card is something you could sell for $1,000 more, might as well get it. And then give you credit also for realizing that there is a gap. Maybe the Jokic fans that you have found are also collectors fans. Maybe they are PSA fans. Let's dare I say stands, right? So maybe not only are they this clicky Jokic click, but maybe they are a clicky PSA click. And you are not allowed in that click just yet.
I'm not. Maybe I've never been allowed to. I sit alone at the lunch table with my dog and maybe my family.
And your green Jello, and everything's okay.
And my green Jello. Who's the MVP? Jokic or Embiid?
Giannis, yes, 100% Giannis.
Isn't it crazy? Giannis actually missed the same amount of games as Embiid, or he's played the same amount of games as Embiid, but it feels like Giannis has missed a lot more games than Embiid.
Yes, because Giannis is usually more durable. Embiid, you kind of expect it. So Embiid gets a pass because if he plays 80% of a season, you're like, oh my God, he played every game. But Giannis plays 80% of the season. Like, what happened to Giannis? Giannis had a beast of a game last
53 games played by Giannis, 54 games played by Embiid.
Yeah, and I mean, what have they played? 67 in the season. I mean, that's that's a vast majority of it, right? 67 total for the team. Listen, it's gonna be fun. It's not done.
Crazy.
It's not done.
You guys realize Jordan played 82 in just about every single season, was the MVP, and was defensive team first team, and led the league. Insane what he did. It's crazy looking back, and that's when they scored like 100 points a game. He was averaging like 35.
You think it's insane that Jordan played 82 games?
It's insane watching today's NBA and the talent. I appreciate Jordan so much more because right now in the NBA, what I've seen is a lot of one-sided talent. Either you're really good on offense, or you're really good on defense, or you're really good wing, or you're a really good three-point shooter. And it's rare to put all of that together and also be healthy and play every game and lead from the front. That's to me today's NBA makes you appreciate Jordan more. Like you look at Dame, he puts up 41.5, but he's also a turn. Like he doesn't defend. Jordan did 41.5 and also was the best defender on the team, which is kind of crazy.
So just to add some fun and some levity to the episode, have you ever heard of Walt Bellamy? Not Bill Bellamy, not the how to be a player guy. Walt Bellamy. You ever heard of him?
I'll look him up.
No, you don't have to look him up. So Jordan played 82 games. Walt Bellamy is a player. He played for a couple teams, but probably best known for the Knicks. He holds the record for the most games played in a single season, regular season. Do you want to guess how many he played?
84.
88 games in a single season. Now you're thinking to yourself, what?
This is Walt, his rookie season. He's 18 years old here.
Walt Bellamy. He began the season on the Knicks, averaged about 15-10, 15-11, and he played 35 games with the Knicks, and he was traded to the Pistons. Dave DeBusschere, big trade. At the time, the Pistons had played 6 less games than the Knicks. So instead of having 47 more opportunities to play, Mr. Bellamy had 53. He upped his points average to about 18 a game after that when he was traded. But it's a pretty cool record, pretty cool stat, that a lot of people, don't have at the ready. When you talk about Jordan playing 82, I bring up Walt Bellamy, who played 88 games, a record that will probably not be broken ever in the NBA. 88 regular season games. Pretty cool, right?
Wilt averaged 48.5 points, 48.5 minutes a game. And I went down a rabbit hole all morning trying to figure out the numbers.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, my favorite record, though, is most minutes played in a game. You want to take a guess on that?
74.
No, actually, it's a little less than that. But I've always felt bad for Xavier McDaniel. The X-Man. He got into some fight when he was a Knick. He got into some fights with Jordan. There's some some fun stuff of him jawing at Jordan. So he played 68 minutes for the Sonics. All right, in a game against I think it was the Bucks. Right, 155, 154 game, and I think they played 5 overtimes. Dale Ellis played 69 minutes in that game. He had 53 points in 69 minutes. So Xavier McDaniel played 68 minutes in a game and doesn't hold the record for the most minutes in a game. It's pretty crazy because his teammate Dale Ellis played 69 minutes. There you go. Couple of little fun little fact nuggets for you.
The history of sport. I don't think there's anyone in the hobby that knows history of sport like you. Like I would put up if there was a hobby Jeopardy, so to speak, that would be kind of fun. Hobby Jeopardy, I would say you would be one of the 4 finalists. I confidently would speak. You miss him, personally?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, he was a good host. He knew every answer to everything.
Who else sticks out? Who else? Howie Mandel. Howie Mandel, hilarious.
Ray Liotta, that's a recent loss. I mean, he was awesome. Great mafia movie guy. I was thinking about rewatching The Sopranos. I asked Ian if he wants to watch Sopranos with me. I mean, he's 9. The Sopranos, that's acceptable, right? I mean,
in your family, yeah, for sure.
Beautiful. I mean, he likes Scarface.
In America, but the cool thing about America is you could run your family how you want.
America.
It's
pronounced
what this
America.
country was typically what I understood founded on was the freedom that it's your family running. We're not gonna propaganda or propagate stuff and shove it in your kids' faces. We're not gonna do that in America. So if you want to watch Sopranos with the kids, you should. What do you like about Sopranos other than
I saw a scene the other day, with my man, and I was like, hey, this was fun. It was, Tony was talking to his kid, AJ, right? He was talking to his son, and his son was really small in it too. And I'm like, hey, you want to watch this? He was talking about their Uncle Jackie. Handsome, come here for a sec. Wait till you see this. Wait till you see how he went to school today. Solidarity, right? Represent. Wrongfully accused this guy. Originally, the news reports are pretty terrible, but
Sean Kemp.
Yeah, we got a little Kemp jersey. Gotta love it.
I've Make America Great Again hat. I'm going to ship your way.
No, he got a little Kemp jersey, and he says, "I'll wear this jersey, but you have to show me his best dunks." And we watched the video. We watched YouTube, a little best dunks. So it was a good stuff. And you know what I noticed? What'd you notice?
That only one of those games he was away.
So his best dunks, according to Ian, were all at home. And what we do here 20 minutes in is we tie it all together. Because NBA players, they feed off of that home energy sometimes. And Kemp, he jumped just a little bit higher. Clay's shot was just a little...
Are you is this the Vinci Code for you? That people play better at home? Is that surprising? In football, you get it. Now that you have Jimmy G. Can we just have a round?
Let's talk about that.
What?
He had a pretty annoying day, if I could be honest.
I have a lot of things.
If he really opened up the can of...
Yeah.
They traded Darren Waller. I mean, what the hell?
And Devontae Adams is like, yo, if my phone's dry, don't hit me up about this.
Yeah.
Wait, they traded Josh Jacobs?
No. Jacobs and Adams were just pissed. They're like, just don't mess with me. Don't message me about this stuff. Leave me alone.
The true testament of how good people are is with your peers, and Jimmy G's just not it.
Yeah. Listen, Jimmy G, I thought was a placeholder. I was hoping that they were going to use the 7th pick and draft a quarterback, and I still hope they do. But we'll see what happens.
Damage in Vegas,
just not on the field.
Not on the field, but he's going to do something on the field. What do you think? We haven't talked about this. 2 topics, and we'll let you bounce. John Morant, counseling, strip club, all that, and then should breakers be regulated?
Okay, couple things. Number 1, John Morant, there's more to the story there's other things that are going to come out, right? Because I mean, it has to be, because what I'm hearing, he's missed the whole rest of the season. They're the 2 seed right now.
I have a theory.
Please shoot.
Coming from a family of addiction and alcoholism and functional alcoholism, there's just people that could do that. I think it was substance abuse, like alcohol became like his coping mechanism, and he was drunk a lot of the time. That would be my thing. And he's going for counseling for addiction. That would be my theory.
I mean, it's possible. I just think there's more to it because,
but what more? Like, you can't just leave that there.
Yes, I can.
Because
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but what I could say is, the punishment fit the crime. I mean, what we're hearing here is a laser pointer from his friends, and we're hearing, he got into it with some. I mean, like, it's the social media cloud chasing era. I think it was Steven Jackson who came on. I was listening to our Friends with the Breakfast Club this morning. He's like, "Oh my God, if we had this social media back when we were all playing, like, it was ridiculous. We would all been in this position. We would have been worse, And now the focus is on Ja, and the focus is showing what? I mean, now we see him in a strip club. I mean, give me a break. That
Yeah, but he went there twice
to the strip club.
Yeah,
so what?
They did a home and home. They did like a away with the Nuggets, I think it was, and they went on 2 occasions, the second and the fourth. I'm not saying there's so. I mean, yes, I agree with the social media thing. I think it's an alcohol dependency thing, and you can't make good decisions if you're just always drinking. You can't go to jail for that. You don't do anything wrong, unless you drive and all that stuff. But I think it was an alcohol dependency thing, and he's like, I need to get sober.
Okay,
because I'm not making sound decisions.
We'll see. I mean, that's very possible. We'll see what happens. That is going to be difficult for that team to perform without him. Although you and I have said at different times that team's better without him.
Yeah, that team got hit. Like, it's tough because sometimes like a lot of shit happens at once. And there was Dylan Brooks tore his Achilles. Brandon Clark tore his Achilles. Steven Adams' injury was even worse, and that's like your core. Like Steven Adams, people. This is why I say stats don't matter. Where do you put setting a good screen?
Yeah,
looking
like Aquaman. I mean, there are things that just don't show up in the stat sheet in the box score. Xavier Tillman playing meaningful minutes is not a recipe for success. He's he's a good role player. I mean, NBA player, but he should not be your starting center. You know what I mean? That's not the 2 seed. That's not a team that's going to win a championship. I don't believe. So that's that. You asked about what else after Ja? I'm trying to remember. So the Raiders. Is that what you wanted to do?
No. So I think with this TikTok ban and all this stuff that's coming down, I've said it for a while. I think it would be good for the hobby if there like the way you get blackjack dealer license, a roulette dealer license, and then you show that license when you get hired to the casino, and you do something wrong or whatever it is, you could revoke that license. You could revoke it permanently for a month. And people have incentive to hold on to that license because that's their livelihood. I think the same thing should be done with breakers, where breakers have to get a license in order to break, and then when the company hires, they do a background check and they verify that that license is legit. And it benefits everybody. It benefits the best breakers. It doesn't let the minnows who come in and out chomp and take away little parts of the business. Mm-hmm. I think it adds just a level of professionalism and trust into the ecosystem. I'm surprised, and I got to imagine that this will happen. I don't know if a Fanatic will do it, someone will do it, where it'll be like, these are licensed breakers, and then Backyard or Leighton or whomever can go and hire them through that license. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with that at all. I think that
if you did.
Yeah, I think that may be
my opinion.
That may be the spin that gets put on it, licensing and the whole 9 yards, because it's an unregulated, space. I think it just comes down to what everything comes down to. I think how many millions of dollars do you think are being broken on TikTok every month? Millions of dollars. And how much of that is TikTok getting? None. So what it comes down to is you shut it down until you can figure out a way that TikTok gets their piece. And each one of these social platforms will find a way to do that, whether it's the Instagram shopping, whether it's whatnot style where there's a rake, there's a fee on it. I think that is 100% just what it comes down to. I think, everybody now with, the economy, the market, the way that it is looking for ways to make sure that they're getting their piece of the funds. And I think that is the entire thing that we have going on now. And I'm sure we're going to see it all over the place. Breakers were basically getting a free ride there. Right. And I don't know how it works on Twitch.
What was the free ride they were getting?
They were broadcasting on their platform and selling and just getting, getting paid without the platform itself taking any kind of a fee for providing that platform for them. And any breaker who right now says, well, I'm big enough. Okay, well, then you shouldn't complain about no longer being on TikTok and no longer being on and breaking on these platforms.
Yeah, but Cage, Facebook Marketplace, we could use that.
Mm-hmm.
It's Facebook's a social media company, so for them, their interest is, the way they started was to bring people together, creating e-commerce and shopping and payment processing. Now they're in a completely different business. Now they take on different level of risk.
100%. Yeah, but there's money there. Right. So I think that's really what it comes down to. You've seen it. I'm not telling you the companies.
How much money for the risk? How much money do you think they're going to make on card breaks?
Millions. They'll take a fee.
I understand, but they'll take. It's also infrastructure to build all that out, and it's a whole nother business unit.
Okay. I'm sure that it's worth it.
So everyone's going to have online shopping on every platform?
No.
And then you have to go through.
Just
and then you have to. And you have to go apply to TikTok to sell on TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I think do you think Whatnot and Card Shop Live and all those are in trouble?
No. I think more competition is better. That's what you always say.
For the consumer, not for the apps. How are they going to fight with TikTok and Instagram who have unlimited resources?
This is kind of what happens, right? It's kind of what happens. There are trading card companies and there are breakers and there are all these things. And then some big company comes in and usually makes it difficult for somebody else to compete. We've seen it in the hobby already. You and a bunch of other people have used the word monopoly to describe hobby companies already. So why is it that some of the other smaller hobby-specific companies should be exempt from that? If there's enough money in the hobby, if breaking is going to generate enough money with people, then wouldn't you want one of these bigger companies to come in, make it cheaper, make it more reputable, and then maybe also regulate it, make it fair? I would imagine Fanatics is going to be doing something like that. Right? I would imagine.
What do you guys think, listening? How would you go about it? Do you think regulation is good? What are your thoughts on the subject? Cage, any final words before we bounce?
Yeah, we haven't talked in a while. I didn't even get a chance to do my Monday brain dump because we had a guest episode
3 hours ago, and you said I'm all talked out for you today.
I'm talked out of you.
Yeah,
I can always listen to myself. I just don't want to hear you anymore. So here, I went to but that doesn't mean I can't talk about my brain. My brain dump. I don't want to hear your brain makes me confused and sad sometimes too. Philly, I had a great time at the Philly show, guys. I haven't really had a chance to talk about this too much. Ian and I had a great time there. Really, really fun atmosphere. A lot of great athletes. You even had Fanatics in full force. Michael Rubin walking the floor and talking to people, which is a cool thing to see. A lot of people lined up. I know it's Philly, and obviously the Philly sport fans, right? But people getting real jazzed to see Tyrese Maxey and the Eagles and the 76ers. That was cool to see, and it got me thinking about a different side of the hobby, a different side of what we do. It doesn't always have to be the doom and gloom. Prices are down. What I thought about after I left the show was what connects people to the hobby. And I watched people line up and wait for hours to go and see their sports heroes. They went and they wanted to meet them. They took a picture with them. They got a signature with them. They bought a card and got the card signed. That, to me, that connection, that thing, that's not going anywhere. It doesn't mean necessarily that those folks are going to be buying RPAs for $10,000 and trying to sell them the week after for $12,000. But the fan base is definitely there. It's definitely rabid. And I think, if done the right way, we can definitely expand this hobby and bring some of these fans in and make them collectors. That was what I left thinking. Also, just that we had a great time. Some of these athletes, you never know what they're going to be like. These guys were real nice. I mean, George Niang was talking to Ian about whether or not Dame Lillard was going to hit that last second shot the night before, and Tobias Harris, we were talking to and having a good time with him. So that
it was a good time to have the Sixers in the house. Like they just came off.
They just came off.
Awesome
Yeah, so it was definitely nice. I mean, Tyrese Maxey, you can see him smiling from across the room, and he doesn't stop smiling. That's pretty awesome too. Especially because you're there for kids, right? Kids are saying hi, kids are meeting you. The fact that you get to meet this guy and he's constantly smiling, that's a cool thing for the folks also. So I really enjoyed that. NCAA tournament this week. I don't know if I'm filling out a bracket. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I haven't really watched too much in the way of college basketball. Usually fill a bracket out, and do that kind of stuff. I guess
it will be fun to be in Mint in Vegas for, I don't know, round of 16 maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely one of the later rounds. I think it's a Sweet 16. We shall see. I'm excited for Mint. I definitely am. Looking forward to that, and seeing folks again. What else, man? I mean, there's my brain. I really haven't a chance to talk about the Philly stuff. NFL, I'm not looking forward to the NFL season. Not at all. I mean, my Raiders are just going to be terrible as a fan. I'm looking forward to it. There's been a lot of movement, a lot of players switching teams, a lot of great stuff. And usually that's going to mean probably a fun draft. When you have this much movement.
Aaron Rodgers do what he does?
That is a very difficult question. Why does he put butter up his nose? Why does he go into a dark place? Why does he what?
Why does he make something as simple as like choosing a team and making a contract when you're obviously the cream of the crop? You could get paid basically what you want. Why does he turn it into this whole like drama and saga, which only hurts him? I don't really understand how any of it helps him. Right. Basically, if you guys don't know, he's sort of holding the Jets' feet to the fire, the way I understand it, and saying these are the wide receiver free agents I want, but the trade hasn't been finalized, but it's been reported that it's almost done, and like it's kind of this limbo game is the way
I know this talented guy, right? He does a lot of stuff, right? There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. He's very good at what he does.
Y'all need to stop sending this guy DMs.
Sometimes
he gets weird when he gets too many DMs.
I know this guy, and sometimes he does things that people don't understand. Sometimes he does things that look like he's, basically getting his own way. Sometimes it looks like he's tripping himself up. Sometimes to the outside, it looks like, wow, we see all the great stuff he's doing, but why would he do this? Why does he do the things that he does?
Like take cards out of someone else's vault, not tell them, and sell a Michael Jordan sticker on auction. Like that kind of stuff.
No. That was someone else. That's a company in the business.
No.
Just take it right out of the vault, sell it.
What I'm getting at here is sometimes people do that stuff because they are looking for attention. They're looking for recognition, and they're not getting it. And there are only a few times where, these folks, I don't call them narcissists, but they have narcissistic tendencies where they have this need, this desire that they need to be told how great they are, and they want to relish that moment. And there's different levels, right? I mean, the Raiders only let Derek Carr talk to one team to try to get a trade worked out. And it was the New Orleans Saints, which is where he ended up. But a trade didn't get worked out. And the reason Derek Carr said today in an interview was because the Raiders only let him talk to one team. And he, even though he liked that the Saints were all in on him and, he wound up and ended up there anyway, he wanted to feel the free agency. He wanted to be wooed. He wanted to be loved. He wanted to know what was out there, what other teams might be interested in him and what kind of money and what kind of offers and the whole deal. Carmelo Anthony did the same thing, remember? I mean, there are so many different free agents who will say that in public, hey, I don't really get a chance to do this. I want to get out there. I want to be a free agent. I want to feel the love from these teams. Aaron Rodgers is he's in a unique spot, right? He's got a team that's basically now with the signing of Carr somewhere else. They probably don't want Lamar Jackson, it seems. He has them where he wants them. And he wants them to show him the love. He's got some narcissistic tendencies, maybe. I mean, you wouldn't know anything about this, but
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that's why he does what he does. Because in a couple of years, he will think that he can become Pat McAfee Part 2, and he will fail miserably at it, and he will disappear. So he might as well utilize the last couple of years of NFL, relevancy that he has left in his life.
Okay, I mean, I think he just has the best chance to win with the Jets. That's a pretty good team, honestly.
I mean, honestly, if he would have went to the Saints, he'd be a better Super Bowl odds, 100%. He'd actually probably have
just because it's NFC. Is that your whole theory is AFC NFC?
Okay, but did
Jets are a better team.
Did LeBron make a lot of finals in a row in a weaker East? The Jets are a better team.
You could say that.
The Jets are a better team than almost every team in the NFC. But they're not a better team than I could probably name a half dozen teams in the AFC that they're not better than. And that does matter, right? It does matter. If he stayed in Green Bay, he probably would have
it cuts both ways. Like being battle tested also matters if you make it through the juggernaut.
Sure. Well, Rodgers is battle tested and the Jets aren't. They got a bunch of first and second year players.
No, I'm saying the Jets. They play a tough Patriots team twice. They play the Bills twice. They play Dolphins twice. That's 6 games that are not going to be easy. So yes, I agree that that's a tough ground. Like you've said it all along, AFC is tough to get through. But a team that gets through is battle tested, where maybe a team that comes out the NFC with clearly subpar talent across the board might not be as battle tested when it really matters. So it's harder to get there. But once you get there,
I would imagine the AFC team will probably win the Super Bowl against whatever the NFC team is. But I think Derek Carr right now is my favorite to make it to the Super Bowl. And if Aaron Rodgers went to the Saints, same thing. If Aaron Rodgers would have stayed in Green Bay, it would have been the same thing. And people have to look at that. If I'm Lamar Jackson, I try to get going into the NFC also if I can. But in any event, it's neither here nor there. Rodgers looks like he's going to go to the Jets. The draft is going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Great times here. We got WBC, the World Baseball Classic being played. There was a young pitcher from, I think it was a Nicaraguan team, that in the 9th inning of the game against the Dominican Republic, I'm pretty sure, I'll probably get it wrong. I'm pretty sure he struck out both Julio Rodriguez, Juan Soto, and who else? Tatis, maybe? He struck out like 3 of them.
Yeah, and then they signed him.
And he got signed. The Tigers signed him, like right after the game. Like, that's a cool story. It's a cool sports story.
It's a cool story.
So
that is a cool story.
There's a lot of cool, a lot of cool sports stuff. I'm excited for the NBA playoffs when that starts. I mean, we got some time on that. The Lakers, big game against the Pelicans today. 2 teams reeling without their stars, but both of them are very close to, a couple wins in a row, being out of the play-in tournament. Some craziness in there.
AD, 44 games. Look at this guy's stats. When he plays, he's a fucking monster. I looked at his stats, I couldn't believe it.
Remember we talked about MVP? Who was the most valuable player to his team? I said AD, and you laughed at me like I was
12 rebounds a game, 26 points a game, shooting basically 55%, 2 blocks a game, and a steal a game.
But with all that said, Darvin Ham with a straight face in the pregame against the Knicks comes out and says that they have a new nickname for Anthony Davis. They're calling him Wilt Davis. Like, come on, Ham. If you want to come up with a new nickname for him, call him like work clothes because it sounds better than street clothes. Call him uniform because he's playing enough games now. But don't call him Wilt.
You're not as a coach. Did you ever want to be a coach?
No, I was a coach. I coached Pee Wee football.
Your dad was a coach, right?
Yeah, I coached Pee Wee. I coached flag football.
So what would be? Have you heard the carrot or the stick?
Yes.
Like there's 2 motivators, carrot or stick. What do you think would be your style?
If I were trying to motivate someone, I'm more of a carrot than a stick.
And you would do that by telling and carrot with humor. You kind of have like a funny way of carrot with a little humor intertwined with a little bit of a stick. So it would be like work clothes is obviously a play on how much you're always out at a weakling. And you're working. I'm telling you that you're moving up. And
you're working hard. You're working hard. That's the thing. That's what I would say. I wouldn't have a stick for Anthony Davis because it might hurt him. And then he'd miss some time.
You also have to know which people respond to what at what time, right? Some people love.
I'm still trying to figure out what you respond to.
I'm much more of a carrot guy.
940 episodes later, we'll get there.
So I'm much more of a carrot guy, but people don't want to give me carrots. They think I They're like, no, you're the dog that likes to get hit with a stick. And I'm like, no, I promise you, I'm a carrot guy. No. Let's try this stick.
Did you watch the Oscars? Who was the...
No, I just played sports my whole life, so I'm telling you from experience.
The Oscars that just happened. The Best Actor award. Did you see who won Best Actor?
No, I don't watch woke shit for a living.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Go ahead.
No, it was Brendan Fraser. He won, and
I like Brendan Fraser. Animal House? No. What's the Jungle movie? Is he like Tarzan or some shit?
George of the Jungle. Is that what you're talking about? He was George of the Jungle. He was also Encino Man.
He's good. Dude, Fraser's good peeps. 90s actor.
So the kid who, I can't call him a kid, but the actor who won Best Supporting Actor for Everything Everywhere All at Once, he was in Goonies as a child actor. My favorite movie. I'm going to try to find his autograph. He was Data. Anybody have a Data auto? Send it my way.
With nearly 40 years as the most trusted resource for collectors, dating back to the first Beckett magazine in 1984, Beckett has been the brand that bridges generations of the hobby. We're happy to be partnering with Beckett and look forward to keeping you all updated on the big things happening at the company in 2023. Beckett. It's the name you know and the name you can trust.